My primary area of research is securities enforcement, what the SEC is doing, what it has done. Some 5 years ago, I started collecting data on SEC enforcement once I realized that there really wasn't publicly available data on what the SEC is in fact doing. Everything that was available was the SEC put out, and that was not sufficiently granular to do any sort of empirical academic analysis. It was also not sufficiently granular to answer any of the questions that were pressing at the time in securities enforcement about who's deciding cases, administrative judges or courts, about disgorgement, about statute of limitations and their impact. So I figured having much more detailed information on that was important. So I started collecting that data. And based on that, I've been doing research ever since. So for the CRCP program, I teach 2 classes. One in the first week of the program, and that's a course on public offerings and civil liabilities. So we cover the basic rules of public offerings, not just IPOs, but also offerings by more mature companies called seasoned issuers in security speak, such as Tesla. When the students come back for the capstone week, I teach a shorter section on SEC and FINRA enforcement. And that's a really fun class because, FINRA enforcement brings the FINRA side, I bring the SEC side, and we're able to combine and meld the 2 different approaches and how they might differ, how they might overlap, where they might be gaps. And it ends up being 2 very different yet very interesting classes. What sets the CRCP apart is that the students are practitioners, they're people out in the industry, they come together with very varied backgrounds. Some of them are lawyers, but many of them are not lawyers. So they ask questions that are different. They're different because they're not lawyerly, they're different because they come from experience. And it just makes the class really interesting, invigorating. And typically we establish a rapport between the teacher and the students relatively quickly. So they're raising hands and they're participating more so than a student in a law school would, and with real experience and real background.